I just wanted to make sure that you understood that the email address for them is realismedicalspa.com. All right, there we go. If you've ever told a doctor that you're anxious, irritable, tired, and don't feel like your old self anymore, they probably suggest that you see a psychiatrist. But our next guest says to see him before you load up on antidepressants because there could be a natural solution. From the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, please welcome Dr. Stephen Hotze along with his patient, Kim Holt.
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure.
Just out of curiosity, when I read that intro, I heard a few chuckles in the audience. How many of you had gone through some issues where people said, maybe you need to see somebody? Yeah, raise your hand. Seriously, raise your hand, okay? Yeah, so oftentimes they'll say that, and sometimes you do need to see somebody, but in most cases, Dr. Hotze, you got to get to the reason why somebody's feeling depressed, and it's not just working it out through a psychiatric measure.
Routinely, it's hormonal imbalance and decline that occurs as we age, both in men and women. And when that happens, it adversely affects the neurotransmitters in our brains, and we don't think as well, and we don't feel as well, and it causes mood swings, and it causes anxiety and panic attacks and depression.
And what were you going through that made you think, this is just, it's crazy, but this is not the path I need to go down?
And it is. I felt very anxious, and the moods were very high, very low, and nothing matched what my life was.
Yeah, it wasn't like you had some catastrophic event in your life that would speak to why you were depressed. Or hold on one second. I think we're having some problems with your microphone. Let's go ahead and walk the microphone up here. There you go. All right, so let me go ahead and have you repeat that your life was, seemingly fine, but you didn't feel like it was fine. So some of the things you're going through are what?
Correct. Very, very anxious. A lot of fight or flight. My emotions were very high, then very low. Nothing really matched my life. Yeah. My life was great.
By the way, she and her husband own Lupi Tortilla.
Oh, well, there you go.
Thank you.
She ought to be pretty happy.
Well, let me, yeah, I think
every
so.
day. Hello.
For the chips alone, I'd be happy. So again, yeah, life was great, and then it wasn't matching up to your life. So when you went and, did you speak to a doctor before?
I went to 7 different doctors.
Wow.
I went to new gynecologists, went to dermatologist, went to gastroenterologist, endocrinologist, went to a counselor. Tried it all.
And nobody was getting to the cause again. And you know my story, Dr. Hotze, same thing, is that nobody was telling me the cause, but they're willing to medicate all my problems. And I thought something was wrong with that. We can't just medicate symptoms. I want to know why and get rid of that. So that just speaks to, we have all these different symptoms of how important hormones are to the body and their function in the body.
Well, hormones are chemical messengers that instruct our cells what to do and how to do it. And as we age and mature, they decline and they become imbalanced. Particularly women notice the imbalance month to month during their cycles. And when they get estrogen dominance and lose their progesterone, that adversely affects the neurotransmitters. And they don't feel as well. They're not calm anymore. They're anxious. They're restless. They're uneasy. They're agitated.
Exhausted, but yet you can't go to sleep.
And, insomnia.
Exactly
they got insomnia and brain fog.
Brain fog, short-term memory loss.
Yeah, and different reasons for that. Sometimes it's just going into menopause, that perimenopause type thing, or menopause, and other times, like for me, it was the thyroid after having a baby.
And this is important. The female hormones, when they decline and are imbalanced, they adversely affect the thyroid function and the thyroid hormone. So in combination, when we saw Kim, Dr. Sheridan saw Kim, and he said, this is classic. We're going to put you on a little progesterone, put you on some natural desiccated thyroid, put you on a little cortisol, because adrenal fatigue can also cause these problems. Put you on some vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, and this was 3 years ago. So what happened?
Well, we started out slow. I went into Hotze. I had every symptom that you could have, and on the extreme at a young age, which is why the other doctors were basically ignoring my symptoms and sloughing them off.
You say it was classic symptoms. Yeah, a lot of doctors will do a test and say, well, I thought it could be that, but it's not because you're within that range.
Right. Well, most physicians will look at lab values and treat lab values rather than listening to the patient and treat the patient. And if a doctor is at all educated on hormonal changes and the effects they have, it's easy to pick these things up.
Right.
And so 3 years ago, we got you on this, and how long did it take for you to turn around?
I noticed a big difference within the first 4 months. To me, it was great. Each step was another small victory. And what I loved Dr. Sheridan said nothing negative was acceptable. Anything, call, anything, we will tweak.
If you weren't feeling right, that means we tweak it and fix it.
That means something's still going on, and we need to address that. I loved that it was addressing my body and not my symptoms.
Yeah.
So it was creating a life change.
And most of all,
what
they
you talk about
listened
in
to
your
what you
book.
said.
Correct.
Yes. And speaking of your book, we know that this is kind of, it's science, and it's kind of hard to understand in just a small segment like this, but you spelled it out very plainly in your book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness. And by the way, we have books for everybody in the audience. Dr. Hotze, another life saved. And you just keep eating chips. All right, for more information about the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, log on to HotzeHWC.com, HotzeHWC.com, or call 281-698-8698, 281-698-8698, and find out what's really wrong. You can also catch Dr. Hotze on the radio. His program, Health and Wellness Solutions, airs Monday through Friday at noon on KSEV Radio, 700 AM. You can also listen live on the website, HotzeHWC.com. Thank you again. And up next, they say if you can't take the heat, stay off.